Welcome to another edition of the Columbia Cougars Coaches Show here on Mediacom Channel 22. My name is Cosmo from the Zimmer Radio Group with Y107 and ESPN KTGR AM and FM, and Columbia College head women's softball coach is Wendy Spratt. Hello, Coach. How are you?
Good. How are you doing
I'm
today?
doing just fine. Welcome to your first shot on the old hot seat there, I guess, if you will, for the Coaches Shows. We've come full circle now with all of the head coaches of the 5 Columbia College programs on with us, and we had the media lunch the other day over at Columbia College, and I know Bob Burchard, obviously the men's coach and athletic director, but pretty cool deal when you can run down that all 5 programs either currently or had finished their seasons in the top 25, and a lot of them in the top 20 and now top 10 for close on a couple of them. And you guys preseason rankings at number 20. Number 20, and finished just outside that top 20 mark, I guess, at the end of last season. But explain the preseason ranking. Where does that exactly come from?
Well, the preseason ranking should be based off of all of last year, taking a look at players that have graduated, key players that have come in. I was a little disappointed in number 20 just because we had beat Dickinson State at the national tournament.
Sure. And
we also beat Olivet Nazarene at the end of the year.
Right.
And both of those teams are above us for some reason.
How does that work? But and again, your team last year made a run all the way to the national tournament, again back to the national tournament, finished at 38-18 regular season wise, and you were what, a game away from the final 8 or Elite 8 or whatever it's called?
We were a runaway from making the top 8, so yeah, we did well.
Did well. Again, the goal obviously to return and try and win one.
Yep.
National championship in softball. The Cougars, a share of the AMC regular season crown last year with Williams Baptist, who's been a team that's really turned things around. That's one of their better programs. And usually in that AMC conference, it's a battle between yourself and our friends up in Fulton at William Woods, or McKendree, and Mobap's had a run. But here, the last couple seasons, the squad down there from Arkansas has really been playing some good softball. You guys tied it, what, 12-4, I think.
12-4, right.
The regular season records. But then the tournament went your way, and you guys came away with the tournament championship and off to the national tournament.
Right. They were actually upset in the tournament by McKendree, so we ended up with McKendree at the end.
I guess because otherwise you would have had to travel, right? I guess it was going to be.
No, actually, run differential, we beat them by more than they beat us. We run-ruled them in the second game.
One of the 15 tiebreakers
we would have hosted them.
that we've learned about in basketball now, where you start going all the way down to, God, you just hope it's not a coin flip kind of a situation. But again, a turnaround for you guys. Now this year, 7 returning players, several new players, 9 newcomers. I think 5 or so of those are freshmen. That's a theme with all the sports really this year at Columbia College has been a lot of new faces. Talk us a little bit, without getting into specific players, we'll get into that a little bit more later, but in general, just what that transition is like moving in with a bunch of new girls.
You know, I told the seniors, the leaders, that it's a big year for us. We've got a lot of talent on paper, but the big deal is team chemistry, because we have a lot of older players and we have a lot of freshmen.
Right.
So bridging that gap and getting the players to get to know each other and really work together as a unit is our biggest challenge, I think.
And it's tough for you guys. It's a little different for the soccer team to some degree, and then obviously the basketball and volleyball teams, they're indoors, doesn't matter. They're not playing beach volleyball or in the parking lots. But here in Missouri, those of you who noticed that the first part of February, there was enough snow above the field that would stretch probably down the baseline. And you guys are stuck in your turf room and in a lot of the indoor facilities, and there's only so much you can do as far as conditioning and on a treadmill and playing catch inside that doesn't make itself perfect for an actual softball competition.
That's correct. We hadn't been on the dirt for our first game.
That's
pre-game warm-up, we got to be on the dirt for about 10 minutes, so they got to see some ground balls in the dirt.
Which is unbelievable. I mean, usually that's the way it works for the beer league guys out at Rainbow. You know, they walk out their first time, they don't practice at all, they throw it for the first time, and then they can't walk for a month. But for you guys to go out and play in a tournament and to literally have the girls go out there and their first action of a softball being hit to them on dirt is in game, or well, I guess warm up technically, but sure, within 20 minutes of going to play the game. I mean, that's got to be a challenge, especially going up against some teams that had already played a dozen or so games. And how does that work? I mean, you just
we only had about 3 years, Cosmo. But the big deal was the communication between the infielders and outfielders, where to throw the ball, where the cutoff's going to be. Actually hitting a cutoff to make the play at the plate. Those things were crucial. The good news was we didn't let a whole lot of runners in scoring position to have to be able to execute those things.
It helps too, yeah, when you have a pitcher like Valerie Teeter that can strike out almost every other batter at times, if not more. in a game. Sometimes you don't have to worry about the outfielders hitting cutoffs because the ball's not going anywhere near the outfielder. We'll get into more about Valerie and some of the players on Coach Spratt's team, her 17th season as the Cougar coach, some new coaches as well, helping out along with assistant Tyler Stark. We'll talk about the coaching staff and getting more into the Cougar softball season. Home opener coming up on the 16th of March. Fingers crossed for Mother Nature. Seems like that first home game is always a Mother Nature mess up somehow. But we'll get into more of that with Coach Spratt after this. You're watching the Cougars Coaches Show on Mediacom Channel 22.